Sharana, just can you speak once?
Yes, sir. Am I audible? It has the change to live. I could see after my screen sharing, there is a button pop-up called live now. I could see that. Sir? Sir, but your voice is very like mild. I couldn't make out what you're speaking. Hello?
It's working fine, Sharanya.
Yes,
Just
yes.
wait for 2 minutes.
Sure,
Wait for
sir.
2 minutes. We'll start. I think we are through, but we will wait for another 2 minutes because we have announced break for 10 minutes.
Okay, sir.
So another 2 minutes we'll wait, and after that we'll
Okay,
start.
sir.
Okay.
Sir, is sir around? I just want to.
Yes, sir is around.
Sir,
But
sir.
now it is live in YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Whatever is there, we will discuss later. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Hope everyone is back. So we will start the session. I will request Sharanya to share the screen and start the session. Sharanya, you have to unmute and speak.
Yes, sir. So should I start, sir? I got disconnected. I rejoined, sir.
I request everyone to add this content in your first slide. This is course on Environment Management 2020 project presentation 18th session of Environment Management. This content should be common for everyone. So please add in your slides so that it will be clear. First slide. And if possible, provide your name also so it looks good. So over to you, Sharanya.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
I request Chair Shukla to initiate the discussion, as well as Romi Kumari. Shukla as well as Romi Kumari to initiate the discussion.
A very good morning, everybody. Today we have Ms. Saranya, and she will be discussing the topic, and she will be having a presentation, our first presentation for today in our course Environmental Management 2020. So Saranya, please start.
Okay, thank you, Romi, for the introduction. So, good morning, one and all. Today I'll be presenting my project dissertation work for, especially I have prepared for EM course. So I work on biofuel prospects of microalgae. So my study area is the low-tech ecosystems. They are with especially the brackish water ecosystems. The project that have been given for me is the prospects of biofuel from microalgae of lentic lake ecosystems. So I will take you here. I will take you through what different kinds of lentic ecosystems are and how microalgae plays a vital role in bioremediation prospects. And also I'll take you through different, based on my collation of secondary literature, I'll take you through what different kinds of diversity exist and how nutrient play a major role in driving this diversity. All those aspects, and then finally I'll come touch upon the lipid content of each of the major classes of microalgae, and I have done some statistics also on how the diversity and the lipid content is varied, and then which lakes are ideal for screening of such microorganisms, and then I will conclude my presentation. So let's move on. To start with, so just because we are dealing with a diverse audience, I just want to make sure that everybody understands what an aquatic ecosystem and what is a lentic ecosystem is. So the aquatic ecosystem is one of the productive ecosystems of the world, we all know. In that, the freshwater habitats, we have very little amount of freshwater habitats. So more than 98% is only what we have is seawater, and less than 2% is only this freshwater habitats we have. So limnology, this is the study of freshwater habitats. So freshwaters are also again differentiated into two categories. They are lentic as well as low-tech ecosystems. So lentic ecosystems deals with the rivers, canals, and reservoirs and tanks, ponds. It can be of diverse spatial extent. So oxbow lake, derelict water, and brackish water. So when it is nearby to an estuary, you have constant mixing of salt water that is going to happen. So this brackish waters and lagoons, you can call it as, so they have a higher salinity when compared to other lentic freshwater ecosystems. But it may be seasonal. Some may be seasonal, and some may be all through the year. All through the year, it will be of higher salinity. So that's all about the aquatic ecosystem. moving on to throw some light about this lentic water bodies. So when lentic water bodies are still waters, so we have rifle, and then there are different categories also. Rifle is a turbulent flowing water, wherein this still waters are mostly lentic. So there will be always a thermal stratification that is happening because of the low flow of water. So there will be the thermal variation. So the top layer will always be hot because of the solar insolation, and the bottom layers will be cool. So there will be a like sediment upwelling that is happening. So the productive layers would be the warm layers, because there will be a lot of phytoplankton productivity will be more in such lentic water bodies. That is where you would have seen in Bangalore lakes, where there are a lot of pollution. The still waters are the ones you tend to get affected more. So you would have seen a green mat even in Balandur and Vatur. You would have seen a complete green mat that is happening. That is because of the cyanobacterial population that is there. So still waters are affected a lot because of the favorable conditions that lentic waters would give to the these microorganisms to survive. So there is a lot of churning that is happening because of the thermal stratification, and also the available nutrients that are entering into the system are easily like assimilated by these microorganisms. And that is the major difference between the lentic and lotic ecosystems, where my study area is they are lotic ecosystems. There will be a tidal undulation that is happening on a daily basis. So if you see the diversity or the productivity, when you compare lentic and lotic ecosystems, it is not one and the same. So here the green microalgae flourishes. So you would have seen a green color mat that is formed in Belandur and Vatur Lake, for example. But in lotic ecosystem, you cannot see that evident green mat, because there is a tidal undulation and there is a variation on a daily basis. So two tides happen in lotic ecosystems. So there will be a flow of water. The flow of water will be very turbulent. So it is categorized as lotic ecosystems are categorized as rifle. So there will be a flow of water, turbulent flow of water, which will not favor these microorganisms to establish themselves. So there will be a diversity will be less. So it has come up with these microorganisms have come up with evolutionary adaptation of being benthic. Benthic in the sense it attaches to any surfaces so that it saves themselves from the turbulent waters, and then it establishes its community. So the population, if you see in lentic and lotic ecosystem, the microalgal population will be entirely different. So I'll take you through all these aspects as and when I move on. So the size, shapes, the lentic ecosystems also have diverse diversification in it because of the sizes, shapes, and morphometry. So what is the spatial extent, how deep it is, and then how broad it is, based on is it a shallow lake. Shallow lentic waters behave differently than a deeper water body. So everything plays a role in having the biological attributes to it. So evaluation of biological community, why do we have to do? Because these microorganisms, especially this microalgae, helps in biomonitoring of any lake. So as you know that physical and chemical properties of physico-chemical properties of lakes are highly dependent on the effluents that are coming into the water body. If it is nearby an industrial complex, so you will have, obviously you can expect some nutrient enrichment that is happening because of the industrial complex. So there will be a variation in the diversity, because only those species that are tolerant to such if it is a industry is dealing with heavy metals, and then if the algae can those algae that are capable of assimilating the heavy metals and then even then able to grow only will thrive. So the pristine the other diversity will vanish. So these microalgae are used as bioindicators to understand how what is the status of the lake. So it is well-known biomonitoring tool that is being widely used. So now later that some 30 decades before this prospects of biofuel from microalgae started at a higher pace. So we are rather than looking at this microalgae as a biomonitoring tool, we have started looking at the beneficial aspects of this microalgae as a potential feedstock for third generation biofuel production. So that's what we are going to see in this. It is my presentation would be a mix of how the physico-chemical parameters have affected the diversity, and then how it can be beneficially attributed to the third generation biofuel production. So these are lentic ecosystems. Again, to give a glimpse of what are those. So lakes are little spatially, which is a wider entities. So these are especially more. So you cannot expect a lake to be as a confined like ponds, and lakes are having a wider spatial extents. Wherein box, these are the marshes, you cannot see the water body here. It is fully closed with the biota. So such kind, but water will be underneath. So such ecosystems are called as bogs and swamps. Swamps will be a waterlogged area. It has a still water for year long. So they maybe because of the backwaters that are coming, so here they form swamps, and swamps will have endemic species that are prevailing only in those regions. Say myristica swamps. Myristica swamps are only confined to the Western Ghats. So such kinds are called as swamps. So there will be water. This is a waterlogged area for permanently all year long. And then marshes. Marshes has the sedges. Sedges are nothing but the grasses which can tolerate higher salinity and then still be able to grow. So such kinds of ecosystems are called as marshes. And we know ponds. Ponds are a little lesser in spatial size. So these can be either deep or shallow as well. So ponds, mostly the ponds you can see in Temple Pond, what you see, it is a confined area. There will not be any chances of water escaping out of it. It is a still water, and then it has a confined boundary to it. Such ecosystems are called as ponds. So coming on to microalgal classification, how they are classified, just to give a glimpse of different like families of microalgae. So these are, first starts with the chlorophycine members. These are mostly found predominantly in every water bodies. You would have seen, everyone would have encountered this in our daily lives. So once the nutrient enrichment or eutrophication happens, these are the species that dominates the water body. So this changes the color of the water body to green, you would have seen. And these are Senedismus and the colostrum species that you can see here, and this one is Pediastrum species. So these are all the chlorophycine members. They dominate the water bodies, especially lentic water bodies. This Bacillophyceae is another group of microorganisms. So they have a dual tendency. So this is my major study of interest in lotic ecosystems, because lotic running waters are, as I was telling, this have a dual habitat, wherein it can appear as it can have its existence as phytoplanktons also, which can freely move in the water body, or it can have a benthic attribute also. Benthic in the sense it attaches to any surface or the substrata that it comes across in the water body and then grow. So that is about this Bacillophycean members. The Bacillophycean members are called as diatoms. So diatoms are mostly centric diatoms. You have two different categories again, centric and pinnate ones. Centric diatoms are radially symmetrical, wherein pinnate diatoms are bilaterally symmetrical. So they have a unique pigments. So you can see here this brown in color, right? So these are because of the carotenoids and xanthophyll pigments that they secrete. So to have an efficient photosynthetic ability, so they have evolved in such a way that this carotenoid pigments reducing the pressure what it undergoes in terms of higher solar insolations, because estuarine and open seas are prone to higher solar radiations. So to avoid getting affected by this solar radiation, because they have to have solar energy for their photosynthesis. But instead, if it is a higher radiation solar energy like X-rays and gamma rays and UV rays, that are going to affect their photosynthetic apparatus. That is why these basilorophysin members are like evolutionarily adapted with this carotenoid pigments. They are called as antioxidants. That is why we have a higher demand for this carotenoid pigments now, because we are going through a rampant cancer tumor cases. So we are it is a what highly sought after pigment, I would say, because antioxidants are getting wider reach among the people. They are being aware of this antioxidants, what it is and all. So the reactive oxygen species are detrimental for our body as well. So they have a tendency to create tumors. So that is where these antioxidants are helping us to avoid that. So such things are also being looked upon for this basilorophysin members because of their carotenoid pigments. And then comes this Desmidaceae. Desmidaceae is again like ghostly looking microorganisms, especially microalgae. They also have a tendency to photosynthesize. I didn't mention that these are photosynthesizers, meaning they also behave like a plant. So though they are microalgae, they have a tendency to produce their own food because of the pigments that are present. This pigment, green color pigment, what you are seeing is because of the chlorophyll A that they possess. So chlorophyll differs. So chlorophyll A, B, C, all that things. These are all basics that we have studied in our school times. So, but still to brush up the memories, I'm just telling you. And Desmidaceae members, these are also bilaterally symmetrical. It has a like ghostly structure, but you can see here, if you cut into two halves, it is bilaterally symmetrical. Whatever different shapes it possesses, they are bilaterally symmetrical. So that is one peculiar aspect of this Desmidaceae. Coming to cyanophytes, cyanophytes are considered as a nuisance in any water body, because as I was telling, if there is a thermal stratification that is happening, especially in our urban lakes, these are going to be a nuisance because they have a tendency they are evolutionarily adapted in such a way that they can fix the nitrogen from the air. So they are nitrogen fixing, they have the capability to fix nitrogen from the air that any of the other classes of microalgae do not have. So they are very opportunistic kind of a species. So cyanophytes are primitive species. They are not completely eukaryotes, but we put them under that protista, that is prokaryotic species, because they don't have a well defined structure as such as the eukaryotic species have. Cell components are not there. So the cyanophytes are very predominant and opportunistic kind of species. So but people have come up with some industrial relevance of this species also. You would have seen spirulina and other species. Spirulina is mostly widely used protein supplement. You would have seen they form pellets, and then it is in the market, it is commercialized already. So they fall under the cyanophytes. And then come euglenophytes. Euglenophytes are those which you can see here, there is an evidently seeming flagella here. So they also have a red spot. You can see here there is a red spot here. So they are very fastly moving because of their flagella. They get the ability to move freely, and then they are fast movers. And also where there is a fecal contamination or in the sewage maturation pond, if you sample those waters, you will find for sure this euglenophysin members. So they thrive only where nitrogenous waste is more. So fecal matters contain a lot of nitrogen in it, so they feed on them and then immediately they flourish. So fecal contaminated areas are mostly dominated by this euglenophysin members. So moving on, this is my study area wherein I have seen all this this is a secondary data collation. So these are the prominent lakes of India. So I have taken all these lakes, and then this is a spatial representation of my study region, what I have considered for my study. What is the materials and methods? So I have did a extensive literature survey on what is the diversity of the lake, microalgal diversity, and then what is the physico-chemical parameters of the lake, so that I can give a comparison of how diversity are affected by this physico-chemical parameters. I have done the literature survey on that, and then I have done some statistical analysis on how the lake's microalgal diversity is varying with respect to physicochemical parameters. And then I have done the comparison of lakes also based on the physicochemical and biological parameters where it falls. So that also I have done. And then data collection on lipid content. So each of the, we know what is the diversity, but there are already established, because the biofuel aspects are being seen for the past 30 years. They have a like repository of many species are being cultured at the lab condition. Rigorous experiments are being going on. So you can see what is the lipid content. That is, there is an already established database of each of this species. What is the probable lipid content? So that also I have collated, so that we can get a better idea of which strain to focus more, and if a water body is nearby, which strain to focus more, and then how to bring about biofuel prospects from it. So that is about my materials and methods. So coming on to results, these are the lakes that had both physicochemical as well as the biological aspects, the microalgal diversity to it. So where it starts from Vemnad and Chilka, you have to consider that this Chilka is a lagoon which has salinity at a higher level, but only Chilka and the other one is Sambar Lake. Sambar Lake is in Rajasthan. For that also the salinity aspect is higher. So this is an outlier, I should say, from other lakes. Other lakes are all freshwater bodies only. So these two are an outliers in my study. So this is a spatial representation of how microalgal diversity varied across this lakes. So you can see here, I'll take an example of this Dal Lake. This Dal Lake is higher in this chlorophysian members. As I was telling, chlorophysia are green microalgae, followed by this basilorophysian members, and then comes the Cyanophyceae, and then this purple color, Desmidaceae. Desmidaceae was the least in their number. So this is a spatial representation of the data which I have collected. So this is the microalgal diversity of the different lakes across India. So coming on to the statistical analysis, as I was telling that canonical correspondence analysis, this is a statistical analysis which gives an idea of how physicochemical parameters are affecting the diversity of the lake. You can see here, if you want to interpret this data, you have to see here, these are the green lines which talks about the physicochemical parameters. And then these Basilorophyceae, Cyanophyceae, and Desmidaceae and Euglenoophyceae, these are all the broader categories of microalgae. How you should interpret this is that, so based on the quadrant in which it falls. So if say for example this Basilorophyceae is falling in the first quadrant, right? That means this physicochemical parameter is acting as a major driver for this Basilorophyceae to exist. So pH is acting as a driving factor for this lake's diversity, and these are predominated by this Basilorophycean members. That is how you have to interpret this graph. This is a method that is used to reduce the dimensionality. If it is if you have two different parameters alone, you can go for a scatter plot, so that you can have an idea of x-axis and y-axis alone. If it is an 8-dimension, you have to have 8 axes. So 8-axis interpretation or visualization will be difficult. So that is why you reduce the dimensionality using this canonical correspondence analysis, so that you get a better feel of where what exists where. So that kind of analysis I have done. Here you can see the major thing that you have to understand is that the phosphates, this phosphate, if it is higher, so that means these are the lakes that are higher in phosphates. So, and also Desmidaceae, this Desmidaceae member is slightly like influenced by these phosphates. If it is very near, if Desmidaceae species is near, so then it is strongly influenced. The farther the species are placed, that means it is having an influence, but it is mildly influenced, not that strongly influenced. If you see here, the Basilorophyceae is here, so it is mostly it is highly influenced by this pH, the factor called pH. That is how we have to interpret. So this Cyanophycean members is also the same. Silicates is influencing factor, but not to that higher extent, but to a lower extent. So this is about the canonical correspondence analysis. And moving on to compare the lakes diversity based on diversity of different species where it actually stands. So you can see here Kanwar and Kutanadu Lake is having are clustering together. So that means the physico-chemical parameters and the biological diversity are mostly the same for this species. And here you can see these 4 lakes are clustered together. That means they have a similar physical and biological attributes. That is how we have to. And the clade, the length of the clade tells you that how far they are how distanted they are, so that you can understand. So the closer the clade, the higher is the similarity. This is hierarchical clustering that I have done to understand what are the lakes that are having a similar diversity to it. And as I was telling, there is a database for lipid content also. So each species has its own lipid content. So chlorella, there is, you can see this is a chlorophyllene member, which under laboratory conditions they have understood that this species is having 17.3. Similarly, Chlamydomonas is also a green algae. It is having a lipid content which is on their body mass 40 to 50%, that is 40 to 59, that is 60% of their body mass consists of lipid. So that is how you have to interpret this data. So this is a literature collation of what is the different variations in the lipid content in each of the species. So it is evident that not all the species have equal number of lipid content. So that is what you have to get it from this table. So if you are looking into the biofuel aspects, you have to take a potential strain that is capable of producing a lot of lipids, so that the yield or the productivity, when you extract the lipid for biodiesel production, it will be of use to you. So in the discussions part, I would like to tell that the Chambrambakam and Pangong and Pulicat, Hamirsar, and Chilka lakes are dominated by diatoms. That shows they are oligotrophic in nature, because diatoms cannot withstand higher levels of nutrient, as cyanophysian and chlorophysian members do. So oligotrophic status, that is what we can infer from this, because I was telling that microalgal diversity is usually used as biomonitoring tool. So this status of the lake can be indirectly inferred from this algal diversity also. So lakes rich in phosphates were dominated by Desmidaceae species, and chlorophysian and euglyphysian diversity is driven by nitrates. So that is the typical example of such lakes are Veminad Kolleru and Deepor Bill, Agara and Dal Lake. These are the species. These are the lakes that are dominated by nitrate content. So coming on to conclusions, because I cannot do more amount of analysis on which species I can talk about, because they have given biological aspects. This is a diversity part. For relating that diversity into the biofuel aspects, it needs a little more data. So that I was unable to find out. That is why the lipid content to the microalgal diversity I cannot relate. So the statistical analysis I cannot do. So each species, how much it is present, the density of the species I'm unable to find in the literatures. That is why it is a very coarse way of understanding only the lakes. Lakes diversity, how it varied, I could find out. So coming on to conclusions, so understanding the microalgal diversity of lakes serves two purposes. One is the biomonitoring, the nutrient status of the lake, and also now feedstock availability also could be understood. But we have to have a count of each of the species, so that if the microalgal density of each of the species is known, then you can extrapolate that into how much is the lipid content, what is the probable lipid content that you can expect from each of these lakes. So that part I couldn't do it because of unavailability of data. So nutrient-less oligotrophic lakes usually act as stress. That there is also a hypothesis that if there is a nitrogen-deprived conditions, so those species, the species that are thriving in those regions, it acts as a natural stress for them to induce more lipids. So that kind of study can be taken up. If in this case, the oligotrophic status of the lake, I was telling the Chambrambakam and Pangong so lake, all these things can be taken forward for their oligotrophic nature. So if you want to screen microalgae from those lakes, you can expect a higher lipid content from those lakes. And also we can also think about large scale decentralized field bioreactors. There are initiatives even from our group also. TVR sir has come up with one integrated wetland system wherein you can get the dual benefits of bioremediation as well as biofuel production. To show a glimpse of what it is, this is an integrated wetland ecosystem, the sustainable model to mitigate water. You can see here all our lab members have contributed to it. So here because we are talking about lakes are in the urban regions, or urban or rural. Mostly rural and coastal regions are having estuarine and other rivers. So wherein we in the urban lake in Bangalore also we have a huge amount of more than 100 lakes nearby. So if we can come up with some decentralized microalgal production plan, it will be useful. Here what it says is the wastewater coming out of any domestic or industrial complexes can be routed to this not exactly a sewage treatment facility which is mechanical, but here it is biological treatment facility wherein it can be aerated to induce the microorganisms growth. So if where aeration is more, the BOD of it is more, because bacteria needs oxygen to assimilate or take up these nutrients. That is why this aeration process will induce the microorganisms growth. After that, if it is a clarifying settling, is to remove the unwanted bigger sized particles, and after that it can be let into this reed bed. So reed bed will also we will have bioremediation that is happening, and then it can come up to this algal pond. So this algal pond is a kind of tertiary treatment wherein most of the nutrients are taken up by this reed bed, and then it reaches the algal pond, and then when it is coming out of the lake, it is like tertiary treated water, which is of very less nitrates and phosphates that can be directly let into the water body. So that is what it is. So if you want to use it for drinking purpose, this is very good. This water coming out of this is very good for washing and other purposes, because it is relatively more cleaner than what it is before. So but if you want to use for drinking purpose, then you have to take it, and then you go it should be subjected to water treatment, and then for just to the ozone treatment is done, right, to kill the microorganisms that are present, and then it can be used for drinking water supply also. This is kind of integrated wetland management system. If we are considering this this is a working model. If we are thinking about something like this in our vicinity also, these get algal biomass also that can be utilized for biofuel production. So the concept of how the technical aspects of how biofuel is produced, that I am not talking about, because the topic is on the lentic water bodies, how it is prospects of them, microalgae in the lentic water bodies, that I have confined my talk to it. So this ends my presentation. If you have any queries, I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Sharanya, your
Yes.
presentation was really good, and when you talk about bioremediation, and really I got interested that it's not easy to identify which species to use, and that bioremediation was really, if I would have been there, I would have interested to know how that bioremediation process being carried out. So really it was a nice
Okay.
project. And let's see, we have some questions by
Sure.
Mr. Srinivas. Can
Okay.
you please speak? Can you please talk about any financial feasibility of this topic done in India? Any entrepreneurs already in place, or any outside India experience?
Okay. So having been worked in this field for more than 6 years, in India, the venture is not commercialized yet, but there are large scale research and development that is going on in different parts of the world. Even the Reliance Corporation and IOCL, they have a research wing especially for this microalgal biofuel production. They are they're trying to see how we can commercialize it, because they are dealing with one particular strain, and then there is a when you do techno-economic analysis on how much of energy is spent and then how much we are getting, we are still at the we cannot reach energy ratio, that energy return on investment is not that high, so it is not going to be beneficial at a large scale. But like pilot plants of 1,000 or 10,000 liters of water also is being in place, and then many infrastructure variations or the technological variations like open ponds, photobioreactors, many even the institutions are also looking on that. Coming on to that is the scenario in India right now, but in other countries like US, they have established themselves, but not they have not reached that pumping station yet, fuel station yet. So that level of commercialization is not being realized for this microalgae, but soon in near future, because we are also, even as a part of my thesis also, I'm working on how sustainably, without input of many energy, like a lot of energy, how we can better utilize this microalgae for biofuel production is what is my thesis topic is also about. So I'm hopeful that working in the next 5 or 10 years, it should be commercialized. So that's what is my like view.
Suddenly the national biofuel policy is giving
Yes,
lot
sir.
of push for the biofuel.
Yeah.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
a bioethanol, biodiesel. We are not
Yes, sir.
looking at the 100% replacement. We
Yes,
are
sir.
looking at blending at 20%. So that's where the journey starts. That
Yes,
is where one need to know the species that are there in the country and what is their potential. That is
Yes.
the work currently going on in the country. Because
Yes.
earlier people used only the traits which are imported from the repositories. The
Yes, sir.
people have not looked at the local strains. Now we are looking at the local strains.
Yes, sir. So there are a lot of scope, as sir was telling.
Thank you,
So
sir.
yeah, government is also subsidizing, and then many the national biofuel policy is very much favorable for biodiesel and bioethanol producing firms. So I'm hopeful that it is going to be there in commercialized in near future. I hope that answers your question, Srinivas sir.
Yeah, thank you. Just one
Oh.
follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Which are the premier institutions in India? I know IISc is definitely doing. Who is working on biofuels?
Yeah,
Anybody else other than IISc?
Yeah, IISc Roorkee, IISc Guwahati, sorry, IIT Guwahati, IIT Roorkee, and some 5-6. There is an umbrella project that is going
we
on.
have a pan IIT center on bioenergy,
Yes.
wherein all the IITs are doing some work.
Yes.
Apart from that, we have a under the innovation mission. We have a big thrust on the biofuel, and also apart from that, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India is also funding many projects throughout the country. There are private players and also organizations like TERI are also involved in the. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if there are no questions, let us thank Saranya and move to the next presentation. Next presentation is by Shukla, who is chairing the session. Now he will chair and he will moderate and also he will do the presentation. So, unique opportunity to show as excel as an all-rounder.
Sir, I still have some problems, sir. It's still one consolidated will I have to do. I need slightly time, sir. Can I do it at end, sir? Please, sir. I mailed this to you, sir.
Please do it now. Why end and all? There is no end in our this one. We are all start the journey. We do not end the journey.
No, sir. I still have to edit few things, sir. That's why I'm still doing, sir. I will do it later, sir.
Okay, we will request Romy to do the presentation.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Can you make it full slideshow mode?
Sir, am I audible?
You are audible. Just make it slideshow mode.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You can
Today,
continue.
I'm Romi Kumari, and this is our second presentation in our environmental management course. And here my topic will be environmental quality of Rourkela, which is a city present in Odisha. So let's have a bit summary that Rourkela is an industrialized city and one of the cleanest city of Odisha, despite having a Rourkela steel plant. And in past years, Rourkela steel plant has replaced old TDP sulfuric acid plant with a new 125 TPD sulfuric acid plant, which has a significant decrease in amount of sulfuric acid released into the atmosphere. And there is a requirement of advanced technologies like flue gas desulfurization, the use of plasma ignition system, and blast furnace slag clinker in RSP. So according to pollution tolerance index, the maximum number of plant species in the city is sensitive to air pollution, and the environmental quality of the city is favorable for birds as it also experiences winter migratory birds. And the people utilize oh, so a bit changes in the slides.
Then the
Oh,
slide,
yeah.
you need to answer.
Yes, sir. Then we comes what is introduction part, that environmental quality is a set of properties and characteristics of the environment which has an impact on human beings and other organisms. It is measured of the condition of an environment relative to the requirements of species, any human need or purpose. Environmental quality directly affects health, which plays a major role in the quality of life and to live a healthy life. Poor air quality leads to premature death, cancer, and long-term damage to the respiratory and cardiovascular systems. And also poor water quality can lead to gastrointestinal illness and other conditions, including neurological problems and cancer. Safe air, land, and water are fundamental requirements for a healthy community. People utilize all natural resources at zero cost, but exploitation of the same has resulted in destruction. This condition harms the standard of living of the people. Therefore, our Indian constitution includes some articles which states Article 21, which is right to pollution free environment. Article 48A, the state will endure to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Article 51A, duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. And this is for um, industries. According to Environmental Protection Agency, there are also some requirements under Section 7 where no person carrying on any industry operations or process shall discharge or emit or permit to the discharge or emitted by environmental pollutant over such standards as may be described. Then Section 8, no person shall handle or cause to be handled any hazardous substance except in accordance with such procedure and after complying with such safeguards as may be prescribed. Then industrialization is responsible for air, water pollution, and soil contamination that resulted in deterioration of the quality of environment and life expectancy. Therefore, some industries are bound to get environmental impact assessment clearance, which is called EIA clearance or environmental clearance, to conduct environmental auditing and improving environmental design from regulatory authorities. And the key regulatory authorities in India are Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, and Municipal Corporation. And there are different methods by which environmental quality of an area can be determined. Some of the methods are calculating air quality index, air pollution tolerance index for plant species, water and soil analysis, and presence of hazardous substances, etc. And let's have some review that what the previous researchers have concluded about the city Rourkela is impact of industrial pollution on health and environment, and this was from NIT Rourkela. Then environmental appraisal report for modernization of Rourkela steel plant. It was issued by Government EIA Consulting Nikon Limited. And another report on seasonal variation in air pollution tolerance index and selection of plant species for industrial areas of Rourkela. And there was another report from American Journal of Water Resources, where a water quality analysis of the steel city Rourkela states there is an industrial discharge of wastewater into Brahmani River, and a research project from a research journal of life sciences, bioinformatics, pharmaceutical, and chemical science named Checklist of Avifauna of Rourkela urban area of Sundargarh district, Odisha, reported winter migratory birds also in the city, indicating habitation is good for local as well as migratory birds. So here our objective will be to study environmental quality status and health aspects of the city, the mitigation steps took by Rourkela steel plant for the ambient quality of air, and how efficiently city managed to maintain its greenery. The methods where I've collected data from Government of Odisha and the existing words by different researchers, the comparison report by the steel plant for replacing old sulfuric acid plant with the new, and reviewing RSP initiative for plantation of trees in every locality. So as we know, study area is the city Rourkela, which is situated at 84.54 degree east longitude and 22.12 north latitude, and it's a plant city which is located in northern part of the state. And results were, on normal days, the air quality remains between 90 to 121, which was moderately polluted. And according to the report of Odisha, which was published in the year 2018, Comprehensive Action Plan for Clean Air for Non-Attainment Cities of Odisha Air Quality Monitoring Committee, the concentration of PM10 in the city was here, which is can be seen by this graph, where there is a concentration, a significant concentration of PM10 particulate matter, and this source was provided by Odisha State Pollution Control Board. And this report also shows that industrial cities like Rourkela, Angul, Talcher have maximum violations of 24-hour PM10 concentration. And here Rourkela somehow managed, because within 24-hour PM concentration, we can see, sorry for the background noise, there was constant increase, and right now from 3 to 4 years, we can see a decrease in the amount of concentration, PM10 concentration. And yeah, this is the serious problem that I felt. There is a constant increase in vehicular emissions in past years. This graph was also taken from Comprehensive Action Plan report, where it shows with years, the number of vehicles have been increased for both two-wheelers as well as cars. It's a comparison report within different cities, and a review of the regulatory orders passed between 2015 and 2017. It was found by Rourkela with highest number of red category industries. So that report also explains where 137 red category industries were present in Rourkela. So this is a serious problem we need to see, but as far industries have been concerned, maximum number of red category industries are only in Rourkela in Odisha state. Then orange industries were 275 and green category industries were 61. As steel plants have replaced old TDP sulfuric acid plant replaced with new 125 TDP sulfuric acid plant, due to which it showed a reduction in sulfur dioxide emission and significant improvement of air quality in the surrounding areas. So decrease in the concentration level was from 6.2 to 3.1 microgram per cubic meter, and this was the table from environmental appraisal report for modernization of Rourkela steel plant, where they are comparing how much amount of sulfuric acid sulfur dioxide emissions have been decreased from 6.2 to 3.1. And the conclusion what mentioned was significant reduction in air emission of sulfur dioxide. No impact on water consumption, no impact on land environment, marginal improvement in air quality in the surrounding areas, and then no additional requirement for land, water for the project. And implementation of a new pollution control equipment, there will be not any additional pollution load to the environment. That, and here we comes to the discussion part. As I've already said, told that our objective will be also to check whether what was the initiative taken by RSP. So here this is the main road, and maximum main road of the city Rourkela can be seen with trees, because this initiative is taken by semi-government organization like RSP. And these trees, since my childhood I'm seeing these trees were there, and in every year they try to maintain this greenery, and they have a special scheme where we can see no plastic, no reduction, which is called 3 Rs, that boards we can see in the city. And this was also initiative taken by RSP, and these are the main route of different localities of the city, and even residential areas like Koil Nagar also maintain. The people itself have trees and plants in their home, and some of them are also, we have green parks like which is maintained by RMC. And the city also have its first plastic road made from waste plastic, and this is RSP concern that toxic gases has been released into the atmosphere. So flue gas desulfurization and plasma ignition system and blast furnace slag clinkers should be used. So this is the future work, and yeah, the future scope of this work is there should be an additional technologies, advanced technologies like plasma ignition system, blast furnace, slag clinker, and flue gas desulfurization. And also vehicular emissions should be minimized and limit the use of vehicles on weekly basis, because we can see just for a nearby shop people used to take their 2 vehicles. So that should be reduced. And in the coming years, the air quality index may become the worst, the most polluted city if vehicular emissions are not brought under the control. In conclusion, we have drawn a conclusion that the city has favorable environmental quality in the residential areas and a good health aspect compared to other metropolitan cities. And I have made this report after Diwali. So at that time, the air quality index has been reached to 151 from average of 100, but on the normal days, air quality index remains between 90 to 121, which is moderately polluted. Although the city has taken some mitigation steps, Rourkela Steel Plant has taken some mitigation steps. There should be advanced technologies like FGP, plasma ignition system, and use of blast furnace slag clinker. So I share my sincere gratitude to our host faculty TV Ramachandra to allow me to carry out a project under environmental management course. And I'm also thankful to our resource persons for taking our sessions in the Institute for Center for Ecological Studies at IISc Bangalore. And these are the references from where I have collected those data and literature review. And thank you. Hello.
Any question that Ranjani has?
Yeah, please.
There is a question from Ranjani. Plastic road seems to be good way to repurpose existing plastic. I am concerned if this could lead to increasing microplastic pollution more difficult to tackle when the roads wears off over time. Is my concern right? Your thoughts, please.
Okay, when you talk about microplastic and all, plastic road is in the place where previously it have its own way. So if you think that microplastic may got into the soil, but it is not true because I have seen how the roads have been made. They have their own base. Then above that, they make the roads. So microplastic will not go into the soil. So according to me, microplastic will not be formed when roads have been constructed, when we try to make roads from it. Ms. Ranjani, are you convinced?
I am not very convinced, like, because plastic as such, it's mixed with some, it's made into some formula and it's laid into a road. But so there will be a broken down element of plastic in the road, and over time it wears off and definitely breaks into even smaller particles. So I feel over time it will, like, when obviously a road will wear down, and it can get mixed into the water bodies, and generally it's I feel it's more difficult to remove that out of our environment than to than to handle bigger chunks of plastic. That's what I feel. Maybe sir could highlight if my concern is right or not. Like, I'm not sure whether it actually causes microplastic, but I feel it does. So yeah.
Okay, from last 5 to 6 years, I'm seeing that plastic road and nothing happened to that road. So if at all there is a concern of microplastic that will take care after so many years. So at present, even if we'll try to make roads from plastic roads, at that time, there will be no problem microplastic because it is not too easy to get degraded.
So true. I agree with your point. No, obviously, see, when a project is started, especially to repurpose something like plastic, the goal should be to have already because it is potential to pollute the environment. That's why we are trying to convert it into a more useful scenario so that it doesn't go to the landfill. So I feel those concerns would have been taken into account when even the idea stage of a plastic road, they would have taken into concern.
Can I make a small comment here, Ranjani? This is Srinivas.
Yeah, please. I'd like to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, with my little understanding, I believe microplastics is more about the size and thickness of the plastic fibers that remain in the environment. Now, if we are incorporating it in the road, its chemical, it would be broken down. No doubt that remains in the soil in some form, but it will be broken down fully, and it's constant, and so it won't be in any fiber form, so that even if the animal or let us say the aquatic ones consume, the proportion will be, the ppm part will be very, very smaller. So the extent of damage to their health would be much lesser, is my thinking.
I think by definition, microplastic is like less than 5 millimeters. So I'm not sure. Like you said, maybe the damage relatively to eating a huge chunk of plastic, and to this it may be lesser impact. But my thought of was more about how to remove it from the environment. If the process could be more complicated. That's my point. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
There's one more.
Any expert, sir? Yeah. Thank you.
You can read Ranjini. Sorry, you can read the Romi. It's there. It's book.
Also, your views on inclusions of microplastic in the water system and later on in our stomach. For a human body, plastic, even if it's a microplastic, it is too toxic. But people also drink water with a plastic water bottle. So so that can also lead to a stomach alignment. But as far microplastic is concerned, it is there in our water also. That is why people have been advised to use water purifiers. And if we compare that with what plastic roads and all, then it have a least chance that from that road microplastic can go into water systems, because those two are located at different locations maximum time. Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Bhaskar, any more questions?
Sir, if you could provide your thoughts on this, mainly because I'm curious to know how it actually works, if possible. Thank you.
Can you repeat what you said just now?
Hello, sir. No, I just wanted to know if regarding the question I had asked on plastic roads and
see, actually, that is where one has to analyze. What you are saying is partly true, but if you put the plastic in the system directly, there is there's a phenomenon called photodegradation. The disintegration of the plastic will happen, leading to microplastic. The larger quantity get into the system when we throw the plastic directly into the system. But by using it for making road, I think the proportion will come down drastically. Okay. So there is an impact, but not to that extent. Okay, sir.
That helps.
We have reduced the problem by 80%. But what you are saying is, what about 20%? With science and thing, with the youngster taking into the thing, probably even that we can address it. So as on today, that is the viable method to handle the plastic monster. Okay.
If we are able to tackle 80% of the problem, then I think that's a good start. Like you said, over time we'll try to figure out.
There is a professor in Tanjavur, Tyagaraja College of Engineering. You please talk to him. You are not very far from that place. He got Padma Shri for this innovative idea also.
Okay, sir.
So you have such a stalwart in your state. Probably you should talk to him.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir. I'll get in touch. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. If there are no questions, then thank you, Romi. Thanks to Shukla and Romi for chairing the session. Romi, you want to ask any question to the speaker as a chair?
What are your views? How should I can improve my project, or
not to the thing. What we are asking is, as a chair, what is your question to the speaker? Earlier, Romy, as a participant gave a presentation. There is another Romy sitting there as a chair. Now that chair will ask a question to Romy.
Okay, I felt a bit research was required for RSP, that use of slag clinker and desulfurization plant and all. But I was not expertise on that field. That is why I doesn't include. So as a chairperson, I felt those important part should I have included.
Actually, when we talk about environmental profile, we need to capture the land, water, energy, and all the aspects. We talk about 5 elements, no? We should bring out all those 5. The land is a land use, land cover in the Roorkee. You have not done that. Okay, water quality you have talked about, air quality you have spoken, but energy you have not talked about. Whether they are dependent on the energy from other places or whether you have your own source of energy, and what is the penetration of the renewable energy, especially the solar in the region. Okay, and also are there any other environmental hazards, environmental hazardous activities like mining, etc. in the region, or industrial this one. You could have listed that. It didn't bring out all those things. Okay, your attempt is good. I would say that you have covered only 20% of 100. This is what I was expecting from you. Okay.
Yes,
you see that when you find time, you please try to address those things. Look at the land, water, and other missing
Climate.
points. Okay.
Climate also shares.
The climate and also the energy aspects. Okay. The environment includes everything. Okay.
Yes, sir.
By and large, people think that environment means only the air quality, water quality. They do not understand the 5 element what we all have inherit is a part of the environment. Okay. Okay, with this, we'll thank you both, Shukla and Shukla. Is there any comment to this presentation? Is there, Shukla?
Yes, sir. I'm here only, sir.
So I thought whether you have gone to the wedding or anything.
Sir.
Yeah, please ask the question.
Sir, that's what you told that the same thing, sir. Like the question was like she didn't cover up the few things about water quality and land also.
She
to talk
talked
about that
water
completely.
Shukla, she talked about water quality.
Yeah, yes. But on land, I think.
See, she didn't bring out
climate,
how many water bodies are there in Roorkee, how many lakes are there, whether any river system is there, then what is the soil, what kind of soil is there, properties of the soil. That is all included in the environmental profile, okay?
Okay, sir. About climate, I think she didn't cover.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for both the chairs. Now we will move to the next presentation. This session would be chaired by Saranya and Robinson. The first presentation in this session is by Ravina. She is going to talk about sustainable cities, planning, policy, and program. Ravina and Saranya and Robinson will coordinate the session. You have 20 minutes for presentation, 10 minutes for question and answer session. Okay, for asking the innovative question, there are marks, bonus marks are there. So you should not make only Srinivas to capture that. All of you are young, younger than Srinivas. Your brain also should work as efficiently as Srinivas, who is traveling and asking question. I appreciate his the effort and dedication. Okay, please learn from the thing what our colleagues also do. Okay, while fulfilling the commitment at home, he is also doing the job as a professional life also. So both ends we have to meet, professional and personal life. We should have a result. So he is balancing both. So please learn from his this one. Okay, just to meet a guide. Yesterday, Rutvija went off, but she completely ignored her responsibility as a student in the course. Okay, with this, I request Ravina to take over and do the presentation. Saranya and Robinson will do the coordination.
Oh, okay, sir. So, Our next presentation will be by Ravina. Ravina, can you share your screen?
Is this visible?
Yes, yes. But please switch on to slideshow mode.
Okay.
Now it's fine. You can start.
My presentation is on the design of sustainable cities, planning, program, and policy. So the aims and objectives of the study are: first, a literature review is done on the current status. Then a list of issues to be addressed are looked at, and the current methods that are being explored. And then there's a study, which is a sketch of a city design, which is a broad plan that uses explores the concepts of biomimicry in design in terms of a fractal repetitive concept using sustainable technology and eco-friendly concepts. So these are some literature reviews. Now, why do people congregate in cities? So humans are social in nature. They come there to earn a living, and it provides security of life. And there's benefit of social living in a diverse group. There's benefit from advances in science and technology. And it acts as a catalyst for thoughts and inventiveness in a group. The problems in cities are whenever there's a population expansion, once it reaches beyond a point, there is pressure on the land. Then there's competition for resources. And this happens because there's a large-scale migration from rural areas to urban areas. There are a lot of negative points that happen because of that. There is poor quality of life. There are social evils, lack of community, increased crime, environmental degradation, traffic congestion, and there's inadequate urban infrastructure. There's lack of basic services such as water supply, sanitation, waste management. The financial cost of land acquisition is also a problem. So there are a lot of practical problems that are caused. What is a sustainable city? The UN Sustainable Development Goal states sustainable city as the cities that are dedicated to achieving green, social, and economic sustainability. It should provide a habitat for existing populations without compromising the ability of future generations to experience the same. So ideally, a sustainable city is one that creates an enduring way of life across the 4 domains: ecology, economics, politics, and culture. So I looked at some historical examples of cities. So cities have been forming from a really long time. There are examples of Mohenjo-daro, Harappa civilizations. So even in this time, there was a lot of planning involved. They would look at water sources and distribution of water, and the same problems that we are looking at today also existed then. So the issues that are to be addressed are water, air, energy, pollution, transport, food, administrative services, communication, and waste management. Water harvesting and storage. There can be rainwater harvesting, and then also desalination of seawater. So these are looking at water supply. You can utilize water from various natural water bodies. It could come also from the rain. And how can this be stored? Then we need to address the issues of pollution. So this can be addressed at two stages. One is at the cause, when it is caused by the industries. So there could be methods to stop it at that stage to reduce the pollution. And also at individual homes, there could be purifiers. And so that can also protect us from pollution. Then there's pollution of water. There are a lot of industries that create a lot of effluents, and this needs to be treated properly before it enters into any of the water resources, and this needs to be properly managed. Then there's also pollution in food. There's pesticides that are being used. These are chemical pesticides. So instead of that, we can use more organic methods like organic farming. Then there's also hydroponics. That's also a method that is used. This is at the bottom. There's a picture of the Aztec civilization. And there they also used hydroponics many years ago. In fact, some of these in this civilization, water provides a major role. And when conquerors came to conquer these places during the wartime, what they would do is they'll drain out the water supply. So they, when the Spanish had come to South America, they had drained out the water supply. So this also just looking the importance of natural resources. So the main city cannot run without the natural resources. Then we also have problems of waste disposal. There's a lot of garbage that is being created. So this needs to be properly managed. So there are ways of segregating it, and some of the waste can be recycled, and some of them are harmful and they need to be properly addressed. Some of the waste can be converted into energy. It can be used for fuel, gas, and electricity. Then utilizing of renewable energy sources like solar, wind energy, and this energy can be harnessed and stored and supplied to sustain the city. This is a picture of a solar and wind farm. This is a wind farm on the right side. We also have problems of traffic congestion in cities. So these can be solved by segregating the transport. You can have separate lanes, cycling lanes, and pedestrian zones. And this encourages the reduction of the use of vehicles. Public transportation also reduces the need of individual vehicles, and this reduces the pollution. There is also a need for social interaction. So there can be plazas, band spaces that can encourage social interaction, and these could be open spaces as well. There are a lot of administrative issues also. Citizens need to be involved it could be an iterative process where the citizens also provide the feedback and the process is improved. So you have the citizens, the policy, administration, and there is a continuous loop where everyone is involved. Then they could also this on the right side this shows surveillance and monitoring and being used in the police. There's also cultural activities. Social and cultural activities also go hand in hand. And then there's also a need for involvement of individuals. And there is also a problem of there's a problem of unplanned growth whenever there is when the city has reached its full potential, if it is not properly planned, you'll always see the scenario of near the city, there'll be a lot of settlements forming just around the city. There are a lot of examples of slums, like in Bombay, there are a lot of slums like Dharavis, that happens just near the city. And there needs to be proper planning so that there could be satellite towns that are formed, and this could happen in a gradual stage and not in an untimed manner. So these are some ongoing programs in sustainability around the world. There are eco-industrial parks, urban farming methods, miniature forests, the concept of new urbanism, LEED certification are bodies that describe what are some techniques by which, and these are defined in terms of measurable quantities, and it also encourages sustainability along a larger scale in terms of the building and construction. Then there's Sustainable Sites Initiative, Regenerative Architecture. I'm going to be explaining all of these. So there's Eco-Industrial Park. So here there is
Ravina, if you don't mind, there are a few questions. Do you want to take it now or at the end of your presentation? It's your
No,
wish.
Sharanya, we will take up the questions in the end. Don't interrupt in
Okay,
between,
sir. Okay, sir. Sure. Thank you.
So this is an example of an eco-industrial park. So here, basically all the amenities, all the services, all the businesses are located nearby each other. So they can use the same common facilities, the same amenities. So there's no need for creating too many amenities if they are properly planned, spaced near each other. And it works like an ecosystem itself. So there is also symbiotic relation between all these industries and businesses. Then this is urban farming. Then miniature forests. This helps in greenification. It acts as also a public space. It helps provide oxygen, and plants also help in helps in preventing soil erosion. Then there's a concept called new urbanisms. So new urbanists support regional planning for open space, and they look at the context for architectural planning, and it provides adequate infrastructure and all the facilities, but it also looks at sustainability, and it looks at effective management of the transport and to how it can reduce the traffic congestion. So these are some concepts of new urbanism. There also, like I mentioned, there are certification systems like the LEED rating. So it recognizes buildings by how much energy they use, how much energy is used in the materials, and it looks at various factors. And this is an internationally recognized green building certification system. So there are different categories. Here you have water efficiency, energy, materials and resources, the indoor air quality, innovations and operations, and regional. There's sustainable sites. And you have different categories that are given based on the points that each of these buildings follow. Then there's sustainable sites initiatives. Here also they give points for different categories like site selection, pre-design assessment and planning, the site design of water, soil and vegetation, the materials selection, the construction, the health and well-being, and monitoring and innovation, and how it is maintained and operated. And there's regenerative architecture. So this talks about the abandoned spaces, old places. They could be repurposed. You could add green spaces and also cost-effective design techniques. And this can be regenerated and used. Then there's also the United Cities and local governments. So there's no common international body that controls this. So this United Cities and local governments, it provides some guidelines that could be opted for voluntarily. So over 60 countries have joined this, and they provide some guidelines regarding green initiatives. Then these are some examples in different cities, how they have looked at bike highways. So here you have reduced air pollution because there is less transport being used, less of cars. And here you have different concepts in San Francisco. They use zero waste. They plan the waste life cycle, and also the mass public transport system. This is attempts at solution in Vancouver, in Canada. So they have a goal to become one of the greenest cities. So they address issues like zero carbon, zero waste, and they look at healthy ecosystems. This is attempts at solution in Stockholm. Here also, in most of these places, they look at public transport and separation of bike lanes. And here you have green roofs and various methods. This is in Singapore. They have included smart city concepts. And this is the Beijing city. So Konjan Yu has looked at design of cities and also looking at concepts of eco-friendly spaces. They looked at sustainable solutions to look at waste management, and there were parks designed that use natural techniques and site-specific techniques. Then this is in Dubai. You have various sustainable city initiatives. So a lot of these use recycled water, and because in this climate, water is not readily available. They sometimes try to get it from the sea. It's desalinated, and then once it is used in the buildings, they try to recycle it and effectively use it. It's treated also, and this water also is used to provide the green spaces with water supply. So here you have wind tower, and there are various solutions in different cities. This is now in Chandigarh. So here you have different sectors, and each sector has open spaces. In India, there's also a smart city initiative. There are so here are some proposed solutions. Here you can look at this city as an ecosystem. So an ecosystem can be self-sustaining, and each component can have a symbiotic relationship with the other components, and it could be self-sustaining in terms of energy, water, and resources. So can the city be looked at like like an ecosystem. And we're also looking at concepts of biomimicry and how that can be used in the space planning of cities. Now, this is the concept of a spider's web. So can this be integrated with the city? And this is the concept of a snowflake. So this follows a fractal pattern. So a fractal is basically, if you look at this, the larger picture, and then you zoom it, and you zoom in, and you will see the same pattern repeats itself. So can this concept be used in the space planning of cities, keeping in mind the distance and the amenities that can be available to each location? So this is just a conceptual idea of a hexagon here, where there's in the center there could be a plaza. Surrounding it, also you have similar hexagonal blocks, and each would be a separate city block. And how this can be repeated. Now, within these hexagonal sectors, you could have a smaller block that has a common space as well, and residents surrounding it, residences. So this is the individual block that is zoomed out. The concepts like solar energy can be used to power houses and even public buildings. So this can help to sustain the city from an energy point of view. Concepts like urban farming. So you could even look at vertical space planning. In some places where there is space, you could have it on the horizontal direction. But then you would also look at step levels of farming in the city. You could also have concepts of vertical gardens wherever there is no space to have a horizontal. Then conservation of existing features of the site can be used to enrich the habitats. So the trees can help to provide oxygen, and they need not be cut down to provide space for the buildings. Then essential services and transport. This can be properly planned. There could be tram and public transports. Those could be on like the yellow spokes that go to all the places. Then you could also have bicycle routes that are connecting within these tram routes. You could have bicycle routes that are connecting. Then you can have essential services like IT network. So there could be IT hubs, then cables that are running throughout the city. Then sewage and effluent treatment. So these also could be located in separate zones towards the outer part of the space. Then the main water supply. So this could be in the form of an artificial water supply tank that is created, a lake, an artificial lake, or it could also be a natural water body. Then there's also open spaces and public spaces that could be there in maybe a central location that is accessible to everybody. It could be called as a citizen space. So you could have it at one larger location for everybody to access. Then each individual sector could also have similar plazas and collection spaces at a smaller scale. That is in the surrounding areas. So this is a zoomed in part of the each sector. And this could also have like a common space. So this could be like the common park of each. So as you go down to each level, you can access this. And this could be replicated even in the smaller, at a smaller scale also down to each house, like each apartment building and then within each house. Then essential services like energy, the solar farm, wind farm, all these can be used to collect renewable sources of energy and utilize it for the city. Now, once a city has reached its carrying capacity and it cannot sustain more population, then there will be satellite townships surrounding the city. So this hexagonal pattern could be repeated at these surrounding townships. So the fractal pattern can also be used in policies and programs. So it's every time there's a policy made, the implementation ultimately depends on the individual scale. So you can look at the grassroots level of how each individual can be involved. There is also a need for multidisciplinary teams in the planning stage as well, and all the inputs from different professionals can be included, like even from architecture, from economics, policy, and even the contrasting, even all the views could be integrated, especially the construction industry. And so you look at sustainable goals as a whole, and this can also, even education plays a role where you encourage each individual to know about the environment. And so that also, there is a kind of a correlation between the fractal thing where it's repeated at every level. Yeah. So adopting a design like that could help to utilize the technology and all the various services effectively, and look at eco-friendly space designs. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Romy. Okay, sorry, thank you, Ravina. There are few questions asked. I'll read out for you. Have you explored the Vastu Shastra in having a sustainable city and building that aligns with the environment? Your views on that?
Yes, there are some lot of elements in Vastu that are based on climatic reasons. So this also could, these are actually usually in India, invariably it will be used because there are a lot of people who insist at a individual home level. Most of the people insist on that. So it automatically is integrated in most of the designs. There would be some aspects that are not that may not have a scientific reason behind it, but most of the principles do follow scientific reasons, such as the southwest being at a higher level. So that helps in the shading of the rest of the region. So when the building is at a higher height on the southwest, the sun does not directly reach the other spaces. So this building effectively shades the rest of the spaces from the sun. So services are usually designed there. So yes, inclusion of Vastu will definitely help, especially the principles that are following climatic reasons.
Okay, I hope that answers Bhaskar's question. And one more question is there. It is on your views on Internet of Things in smart city development. Aren't we relying more on AI? What is your views on pros and cons of AI as an architect?
Yes, so technology can definitely be used to help. Like, it's not that technology means that it is that you're going away from sustainability. It can be integrated. So, you can have efficiency that could be increased if you use let's say like automatic watering, drip irrigation. So supposing someone is not at home and you're away and you want the watering of let's say a garden, a home garden to take place. So all this you can have, you can automate this. So this can be also done at a larger scale. And you can have automatic level indicators for water supply, and even for urban farming as well. So all this can help to automatically control these taps, and it can reduce the wastage. So all this technology can be used in an effective way. So you can work with technology and reach sustainable goals as well.
Okay. There is one more question, which is on transportation system often results in improper city design. How can we help to solve this issue in sustainable cities?
Yeah, so it needs to be effectively planned in the beginning. And yeah, so it actually needs to be planned somewhere in the beginning where you have separate lanes. So there's no clashing of bicycles and car routes. So
Okay. There is another question. To reduce the overall pollution, your views on exploration of air purifying plants like palm and noise dampening plants like Ashoka.
yeah, so there could be a lot of natural ways to do air purification. Plants are actually one of the best natural air purifiers. There are even the plants also help in water purification also, and so yeah, definitely you can use these as natural air purifiers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And what, according to you, is the best way to ensure efficient interaction of all sectors in relation to sustainable city?
Ultimately, the involvement of individuals, because most people will be affected by all these steps that will affect the environment. If not an immediate effect, there will be a long-term implication. So most of the time, the people don't see the long-term effects. So education, so that people know what are the effects, and basically the involvement of the public will help, and involvement of each person basically.
Okay. There is one last question, that is on any sustainable initiatives from an Indian context and your opinions on eco toilets and building orientation for natural elimination.
I'm sorry, you could just repeat that question?
Yeah, I'll split the questions for you. First is sustainable initiatives from an Indian context, because in your presentation you were talking about foreign countries, how they have implemented sustainability in their building and construction aspects. But I want to know whether there are any sustainable initiatives from an Indian context. Are you aware of it? I just want to.
Yes, there are. So here the city of Hampi, so they have planned an effective water supply. Even the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa civilizations. So in history, also there have been many good examples of how a sustainable city has been planned.
Okay, and the next question is opinions on your opinions on eco toilets.
Okay. Yeah, so you can have eco-friendly toilets that are they need to be properly planned. Like if you can effectively use the waste, and it could be done in such a way that it is not affecting the other spaces. Like it should be treated well, and you can actually use these for plants and things like that.
Okay, the last one is the building orientation for natural elimination.
For natural, natural.
Yeah, natural elimination for enabling natural elimination to reduce energy consumption for lighting.
Correct. So basically, wherever you have too much light, you would not put that many windows, but you would like to get indirect light. So usually in India, you could have more windows now in the east and the north, larger windows basically, and that helps in the lighting. But it is not a good idea to put a skylight, let's say, towards the north. So this skylight is usually used in countries where you don't have too much of light and it gets very cold. So they put like it depends on which hemisphere you are. So in those regions where you need more light from the north side, they put the skylight. But in India, it will be a different orientation. So it ultimately it depends on the context where it is located, which hemisphere, and also the type of geography of the area. If there is, let's say, in a desert region, you would not want to have too much light and heat coming in also. So it depends on the context basically. And yeah, you should definitely look at the climate and the site position of the building and how it is oriented.
Okay, and one last question from me. So we are talking more on sustainable smart cities and all that, but already if you see all the cities, major metropolises are already urbanized in an unplanned way. Are there any suggestions from your side? Is retrofitting possible? Like if so, it takes up a huge taxing on the government. Are they ready, or how are we going to plan in future? What is your thoughts on that? I hope I'm clear. If not, I will repeat.
Yeah, you could repeat the question once also. Yeah.
No. Most of the metropolises are already planned, and it is very haphazardly made. Now, if we are taking a transition towards a sustainable cities, because we start talking about this now. So, can retrofitting be possible? Can we remodify the already planned cities, or how is it going to be in future? So the new cities are going to be sustainable smart cities, or how, if we want to remodify the old city, what is your opinion on that?
Okay.
Is that even possible?
I think to an extent you can definitely include all these features in existing cities, but these need to be done in a planned way and in an integrated way. Sometimes, many times you'll see, if I go outside sometimes on the road, you can see sometimes they will be laying a pipeline, and then after a few months again later they will again remove the system, and again they'll be laying a different line. So to sort out the electricity. So if these, instead of doing it in a haphazard way, these could be planned and integrated well. Like all these different systems, if they need to be actually planned and actually thought of, and then it can be more effectively implemented, I feel. So it needs like the involvement of various people from different professions, and it needs to be done in a planned way basically.
Okay, thank you, Ravina, for your patience in answering all the questions. Like regarding your presentation, I have few like inputs. What I felt was like it was more about the concept explanation. I felt it could have been because in your earlier slides, earlier presentation, I saw some of your work, your own work, what you have taken. So one or two case studies on what you have done and explained it briefly. It would have been more informative for us. So that is what is my opinion on your presentation. Otherwise, I am giving over this to TVR sir, and then if he has any comments, so he can add up, or any other participants also. Thank you.
Good effort. Only thing is, I was looking at the city as a sustainable city. Especially in the context of the so-called smart city program of Government of India. The people have not understood, which I keep repeating. The last time also I responded to that. So if someone wants to do the city as a smart city, what kind of planning is required? What are the programs? Which partly you answered there in your presentation. So the policies and planning I was looking at. So how to in the region. Which other regions are appropriate to be tagged as a sustainable city? Those are the things I was looking for. Anyway, attempt is good. Thank you very much. So we will move to the next presentation. Next presentation is by Mr. Robinson. Robinson will the present, and also he will evaluate himself as a chair also. Self-assessment also will happen. So
regarding the case studies, I'm yet to do a completion on that one, sir, on the LCA, which was given like.
No, but we have announced project long back. It is your responsibility to present at the stipulated time.
Yes, sir, I
No,
understand.
if everyone gives excuse when we cannot continue the course at all. We expect everyone to be ready by today, because we have given enough time also.
Yes, sir, I started off because due to some issues, I couldn't make a visit directly to the factories, because my thing involved was the complete life cycle of a food product, like, because the few of the factories are located somewhere, and a few of the packaging industries look quite in a distance way. So I thought of taking any one footprint, like.
Robinson, you had worked in ITC. It was not difficult. I thought about it, and that's where I looked at your profile also. That's where I assigned that. I assigned cigarette/tobacco product and food.
Yes,
so
sir.
I thought that having worked in that industry for some time and being a senior person, you should be able to come out with the thing, so that is a knowledge sharing for the youngsters. As we grow up, we also should disseminate the knowledge to the youngsters. There are many youngsters looking forward for such things. Okay. In case they are into the tobacco or the cigarette, at least they will decide whether to continue that and make the life more pleasant for the others.
Yes, sir. That's what the main intent for me also, because I just don't know. I just wanted to have my own study instead of verifying with the other existing case studies which is available. Like, so it's quite a time-taking process, sir.
No, what is the thing? Have you done anything, or you have not done anything?
I mean, visited few factories. I'm just collecting the data. So I mean, to make a
No, whatever you have done, you please present it. I have announced this in the month of September only. It cannot go on like that. I can't keep the project, this one, the entire thing open for a long time. So whatever you have done, you please share the slides and present it. We cannot postpone.
No, sir, I would not be able to present actually.
You won't be able to present this, yes.
So we will move to the next this one. Thank you, Saranya. So next session would be chaired by Josna and Vartika. So next presenter is the Raksha. Josna and Vartika are going to be the chair. As a chair, you will also evaluate and send me this one. What is your assessment thing? Okay. So along with the marks, you also mention what are the plus and minus point of it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Raksha and
Yes, sir.
Vartika.
Vartika is not there.
Sorry, Josna and Vartika are going to chair.
Vartika, no, she's not there. Vartika Sharma. Vartika, are you there?
Yeah, Josna, you coordinate.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. So, Raksha, yeah.
One small announcement. Please stick to 20 minutes for the presentation, then 10 minutes for the question and answers.
Yes, Raksha, please make sure that finish your presentation in 20 minutes. We'll start questionnaire in for next 10 minutes. Okay, you can start, Raksha. Please switch to slide share mode.
Function F5 or that button down you can click.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Raksha, you're audible.
Okay. Sorry, I was talking till now, but my mic was on mute. Sorry. Is my content visible?
Yes, but switch to slideshow mode.
Okay. Now?
Yes, it is fine now. You can
Okay.
start.
Good morning. I'm Raksha, and I'm presenting today's content, a study to understand the barriers to management of construction and demolition waste. And these are my contents. And so basically, what is a construction and demolition waste? Any waste that includes building materials, debris, and all the rubbles, which is a result of construction activities. Like construction activities may be like construction of buildings, remodeling, repair work, or even demolition will consist of a construction and demolition waste. Now, recently, there was a study conducted by Center of Science and Environment, New Delhi, where they made a study on construction and demolition waste itself. And they have told that in India, approximately 150 million tons of construction and demolition waste is generated annually. But only 1% of it is recycled or recovered. So now scope and methodology. Here the scope of my paper was limited to literature review carried out on construction and demolition waste and studying the guidelines provided by Central Pollution Control Board and Karnataka State Pollution Control Board, and also study the construction and demolition waste recycling system in Bangalore, Karnataka. So in order to obtain this objective, I conducted out a literature review and on the topic of construction and demolition waste by collecting few articles from the journals as well as internet sources. And I studied the guidelines provided by the regulatory bodies and also tried to see if there were any gaps. Now, construction and demolition waste rule and guidelines. This was actually brought into in the year 2016, where they reviewed the previously existing rules, and then they realized that there was a necessity to revise the old rules. That was the Central Construction and Waste Management Rules of 2000, which was then revised in 2016. By emphasizing on the roles and accountability of waste generators and various stakeholders, giving importance to segregation. The revised rule is also called as Construction and Demolition Waste Management Rule 2016. Sorry. Okay. The rules mentioned in Construction Waste Management 2016 is applicable to every waste that is resulting from a construction activity. As I mentioned, remodeling, repair, and demolition of this civil structure, individual structures, or any authorities of any sort of structure basically. So the rules in detail explains the duty of what does the rule contain. It explains duties of the waste generators, basically who are generating the construction and demolition waste, and service providers and their contractors. Basically it can include there are few service providers who take companies might generate waste because of their activities. They collect the waste and then take it to the recycling facilities, and then local authorities, then state pollution control board, pollution committee, state government, Central Pollution Control Board, Bureau of Indian Standards, Indian Road Congress, central government. So rules will tell all duties of all these. And then it also states that states the criteria for how we are supposed to store, process, and recycle and the recycling facilities for construction and demolition waste, and the application of construction and demolition waste and its products. So the activities which generate construction and demolition waste in cities or towns are mainly from, again I said, demolition of existing or old structures. Even when you think about renovating your house, right? So most of the people renovate their house. When you renovate your house, even then, that time there are few waste that are generated. So the waste generated during that also comes under construction and demolition waste, and even construction of new buildings, excavation or reconstruction of concrete roads or asphalt roads, construction of new flyovers, bridges, etc., and renovation or installation of water, telephone, or internet pipelines. So all these waste that is generated because of this will come under construction and demolition waste. Okay, now what are the compositions of construction and demolition waste? Okay, so it can depend on the particular project itself. For example, when you speak about laying down the pipelines and all, usually there'll be some soil waste as well. So when you're constructing a building, there'll be concrete waste, steel waste, brick and masonry waste. So based on the project, you'll have the waste generated. So the based on the project, this is a percentage of waste that's are generated, like soil, sand, gravel, brick, masonry, concrete, metals, bitumen, wood, and others. Okay, now guidelines with respect to building sector. Here the Building Material and Technology Promotion Council has given some guidelines. The cities with population greater than 1 million, for cities with greater than population 1 million, the Ministry of Urban Development gave out a circular stating that all states are supposed to set up C&D waste recycling facilities in all cities with population of over 1 million. Then direction to bulk generators. The bulk generators as in big projects like construction of flyovers, bridges, etc. So the agencies that generate C&D waste in bulk quantity quantity to deliver the C&D debris to the recycling plant. They are supposed to, whatever waste is generated by them, they're supposed to deliver it to the recycling plant. Criteria for setting up C&D waste processing facilities. The civic bodies wherein current waste generation greater than 2000 tons per day is to be has to set up more than one plant for recycling of construction and demolition waste. And for non-bulk generators, that is for smaller projects, collection points to be provided so that small quantity of generators of C&D waste do not require to transport the debris to a distance of more than 2.5 to 3 kilometer. So what does this say is, when you're constructing, obviously you'll have this waste, right? So these waste are supposed to be carried out to the recycling plants, but again you'll have to incur some money in order to transfer it to where the recycling plant is located. So instead of taking to if it is located in a very far distance, there's a provision for collection points. Like there will be collection points throughout the cities where waste from a certain area will be all collected in that collection point. Mandate use of C&D waste products. C&D waste products, as and when the waste recycling plant is commissioned at a city, it may be made mandatory for all construction activities to be specified percentage of building construction materials manufactured from recycled debris. Basically, there are guidelines that say that at least 20% for bulk generators, at least bulk project, at least 20% of them have to use recycled products. Okay, there is also a hierarchy in the waste management in case of construction and demolition waste, that is prevention, reduce, reuse, recycle, and disposal. So basically the same sort of waste management is hierarchy is used, where the main priority is given to prevention of generation of waste. So we have to plan it in such a way that we have to prevent generating any sort of construction and demolition waste as much as possible. Then if in case we are generating, we are supposed to reduce the amount of generation, and as much as possible we are supposed to use the reused materials, and then whatever waste is generated could be recycled, and in case of unavoidable reasons, we have to dispose it, but disposal is given the least preference. Okay, now the norms prescribed by Karnataka State Pollution Control Board. These are the norms given by the Karnataka state, where debris shall be removed within 48 hours from the construction place. So whatever debris that are present in a construction place has to be removed within 48 hours. And the construction debris shall be given to authorized contractors for lifting and transporting the waste disposal. As I told, there'll be few contractors who will be collecting the waste from the place of generation to the recycling facilities or the collection points. Then the local bodies shall separately constitute a squad and register the debris contractor for lifting, transporting, and its disposal in designated place. The local body shall designate separately for debris disposal areas, preferably an abandoned quarry away from the city, with due prior authorization from KSPCB, Karnataka State Pollution Control Board. Again, as they say, there must be areas that should be prescribed for the disposal of this construction waste, and then debris shall not be allowed to be dumped on footpaths, roadside, other areas, acid blocks, and the surface drains. So there must be no littering on the footpaths, roadside, or it should not be dumped along those places. And quarterly reports of violation or penalty shall be submitted to Karnataka State Board Pollution Control Board for monitoring. So any violation done by any construction projects or any penalties that have been given, that has to be recorded. So now recycling and recycling of construction and demolition waste. With the increase in environmental concerns and awareness among the people, so recently we have all become more aware of the environmental problems. We want to reduce negative impacts from any sort of actions that we are making. So now from the point of view of the construction, the main attempt is made to reduce the construction and demolition waste by recycling them. So usage of recycled materials reduces the environmental cost compared to that of materials obtained from the primary source. That is extraction of the raw materials. Recycling not only conserves the raw materials but also conserves water, energy, and also reduces the production of other pollutants, because since they are the waste, we can use them to make them as the raw materials for the other projects. So the Center of Science and Research, New Delhi, has given a table which tells about the waste recycling plants in India, and it has mentioned about 2 plants in Chikkajala and Kannur in Bangalore. And Chikkajala is privately owned, and its capacity of tons per day is 1000, and Kannur capacity is 750 tons per day, and both of these are operational. Okay, so construction and demolition waste recycling plants in Bangalore. So, as I mentioned, the operational and construction recycling plants in Bangalore is situated in Chikkajala, which is owned by Rock Crystals Limited, located in the outskirts of the city. It is the only private processing unit that has been identified by Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, and has a capacity of handling 1000 tons per day. So, okay. Then after that, with the increasing, there was a increasing concern because of the since there was a lot of urbanization in Bangalore. There was and a lot of projects that were coming up. There was a increase in the construction waste in Bangalore. So with that keeping that concern in mind. BBMP, after receiving the order from High Court, made an agreement with Rock Crystal, the previously existing private company, to own and operate a new plant in Kannur, which has a capacity of 750 tons per day. What happens is, as I told, usually what happens, you give out the responsibility of collection and storage, transportation for other contractors. Here, Rock Crystal has taken the responsibility of collecting and transportation of waste, and charges a service of rupees 734 per ton of waste. And then the plant will help address the growing concerns related to construction and demolition waste by scientifically recycling the construction and demolition. Okay. Then again, BBMP has made the generators responsible for as we have seen in the policies and rules and regulations, they have made the generators responsible for the storage, collection, and transportation of the construction and demolition waste to the recycling facility. It also made it mandatory for all the infrastructure and construction projects to replace at least minimum of 20% by the weight of aggregates or sand, masonry, block, granular, sub-base soil as permitted by the Bureau of Indian Standards, Indian Road Congress, or Central Public Works Department. Okay. So regarding Rock Crystals, I would like to say is they initially actually worked as a stone crushing unit in Bangalore, but with the development, increase in the development, they also found that it was difficult to get raw materials. So since there was a shortage of raw materials, they took the initiative to use demolition waste materials as raw materials for construction material production. This demolition waste from major construction demolition projects are brought to the operator by the generators. Whoever generates the waste, they're brought into the recycling facility, and the waste being processed into aggregates of 6 mm, 12 mm, 4 mm. These are the size of the aggregates, and manufactured sand. This is the operator processes an average of 2,500 tons per month of construction and demolition waste. The material produced is of whatever material that they produce is of good quality. Even Center of Science and Research have also mentioned that they have been providing good quality of this construction materials, recycled construction materials. So basically this is a process. Even in rock crystals, they take the construction and demolition waste, and usually what happens in the plant is they do not get the segregated waste, so they'll have to segregate the waste. Most of the cases they'll have to segregate the waste, and sometimes even hand segregation will be required. And then there will be sometimes uneven sizes of concrete waste, which then they'll have to break down in order to fit into the jaw crusher. Then it is sent to the magnetic separator, where all the metal parts are separated, and then once it is crushed, it will be separated based on its size. Okay. What are the problems with the existing management system? With the existing construction and demolition waste management rules in place, along with the guidelines provided, there are still a lot of barriers that we are dealing with in case of construction and demolition waste throughout India. And the rules put in place will not be sufficient enough to deal with the problems arising with the increasing construction and demolition waste. The challenges which cause an hindrance to construction and demolition waste management include, firstly, they keep dumping all these waste products in open areas in Bengaluru, and major reasons for this is as per the sources that I've read, what they have mentioned is since they prefer dumping it in the open areas than sending it to the recycling centers, because of the distance of the quarries from the sites. And then also BBMP published a list of BBMP has published a list of 8 designated quarries for disposal of waste in 2012. And they have mentioned there are 8 designated quarries. Out of 2 of these are Kannur and Mallasandra. Each dump yard is more than 20 kilometers away from the core of the city. And also BBMP has imposed fines of rupees 5,000 per ton to check on illegal dumping. In case people dump illegally, instead of sending it to the recycling units, they'll be charged fined, and also if caught in the act again, their trucks will be seized. Okay, now what are the barriers? That is, firstly, availability of land. Land has become a scarce resource. So in order for setting up any recycling units as well, we need a large amount of, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry for interruption. This is a time reminder. You have 3 more minutes to wind up.
Okay, no problem. I'm almost done. So what is the, so there is a, sorry. Okay. Since there is a, where was I? I'm sorry. Since availability of land, since land has become a scarce resource, for setting up a recycling unit or a recycling plant of construction and demolition waste, it needs a large amount of land. As since when there is a lack of availability of land, setting up of many recycling plants also becomes a problem. As the policy mentioned that for states more than certain population, it requires more than 1 recycling plants. And segregation of the construction and demolition waste. Since they have told that the waste that are sent to the recycling plants have to be segregated, not all of them follow the same, and unsegregated waste are being sent or dumped, and it takes and in case if you don't segregate the waste, the recycling of the materials become difficult. Also, the final value of the recycled product also decreases because it won't be of a good quality. So segregation of construction waste becomes important, because every material is taken separately. As I mentioned, like concrete, steel is taken separately, and then concrete is taken separately. So you'll have to segregate. And then transportation of construction and demolition waste. So again, as I had told, for transportation of construction and demolition waste, giving it to a few contractors who will carry the construction demolitions waste from the source of generation to the recycling units. So sometimes what happens, these people will not be having the information of the construction and demolition place waste in certain parts of the city. So they will not come to collect it. As you can see, you will notice that in any city, even in here, if there is a work going on for days and days together, the construction or waste will be lying around the roadways or dumped in certain areas. So that is because of the lack of communication between the contractors and the construction projects. Yeah, all of this. And most cases, private contractors, that's why they will not know all of the pickup points to take the construction and demolition waste, or may also take a significant amount of time to clear the waste. So basically, sometimes it will take more than 48 hours. Lack of monitoring. One of the main reasons is there's a lack of monitoring from the local bodies in case of mismanagement of the construction and demolition waste. So even then, they have to, that may be because of financial and since not many human resources or financial resources are provided, that may be one of the factors for the lack of monitoring. Then lack of accountability. So since I told, see, the generator who produces the waste will be hiring the contractor to dispose of the waste. The generator himself may not be knowing whether this contractor will dispose of the construction and demolition waste or not. So now there will be there will be a question of who is accountable for the failure in the proper disposal of the construction and demolition waste. Then lack of awareness. One of the main reasons for such a problem is the ignorance on the part of the engineers, architects, contracts, and also the people. And also it mainly they are supposed to be educated on these terms. Okay, conclusion. So basically what I have realized is only by setting up policies and regulations will not help in dealing with any sort of waste management, be it solid waste management or construction and demolition waste management. It is a very complex system where it will depend on socio-economic, political, environment, and technological aspects as well. So when you're thinking about that, we'll have to come up with a integrated approach in handling any sort of waste, and that could be even dealing with construction and demolition waste as well. So according to me, this is just a initial step towards understanding the complex dynamics of this construction waste management, and we can think about increasing the research related to construction and demolition waste management, and there is a need to understand the wider perspective. So that's all for my presentation today. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Raksha, yes.
Okay.
Okay, there are few questions. One from Bhaskar Tripathi.
I cannot. Okay.
Yeah, I'll read this out.
Thank you.
So your views on usage of lime mortar instead of cement, as it is more sustainable, less polluting, and will conserve the environment.
I am lime mortar. Is it what he's saying?
Yeah, usage of lime mortar instead of cement.
I cannot recall the exact relationship between the both, so I'll have to read on that and let you know. But anything that is more sustainable to the sustainable practice would be a better option, because as we know, cement is one of the highest one of the causes of concern in GHG emissions. So as much as possible, we better avoid using that.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Raksha, very much. I was just curious to know that, I mean, I heard somewhere in some article with respect to the usage of lime mortar rather than cement. So I was just wondering whether you came across this thing or not.
I'll have to read on, because I'm not sure about because when we talk about that, we'll also have to consider the strength aspects as well. So I'll have to read about that and then get back to you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
But as per sustainability is concerned, I would prefer replacing cement.
Okay, Raksha. Okay, the other question is from myself.
Yeah.
So, do you think that government assistance for these plants, like you were talking about waste recycling plants, right?
Yeah.
What if the government assistance would come into picture? Like it would help them, or is it the lack of awareness in the public that these plants are not effectively working?
Okay, government assistance in whether government will give some assistance in what way are you referring to?
Like a financial assistance kind of.
Okay. Actually, what I mentioned in the second case, right, in Bangalore, setting up of Kannur recycling unit is because of the directions given from the government itself. So they have been giving the inputs on and have been promoting recycling of construction and demolition waste.
Okay, Raksha, thank you. Yes, as a chairperson, yeah, it is very informative, and I felt it would be more engaging if you have taken a few case studies which involve less usage of like the construction materials and use of feasible technologies. Like it would be more engaging if you have talking about that, like green buildings and all. Otherwise, yeah, it is very informative, and I would like to hand over this to TVR sir.
Krishna, you will continue for a while.
So I can't.
One more presentation we are looking. Vartika is not there. No?
Sir, actually your voice is not clear, sir. Can you repeat, sir?
Josna, you will continue, I said.
Yes, sir. Fine, I'll do.
Voice is not clear. Okay, I will just now. Am I audible? Yeah, Josna, you will continue. So
I can't hear you. I don't know whether it is from my end.
No. Actually, it is from sir's end only. Like his voice is not clear. Sir?
Josna, you will continue, I said. Then I will call another person for the presentation. So we will pick up the presentation by the Bhaskar Tripathi.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, I'll stop sharing then.
Sure, sir.
Yes, Raksha,
Yeah.
you can stop sharing.
Okay. How do I? Okay, stop sharing. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Bhaskar sir, can you start sharing? Sir, please switch to slideshow. Yeah. Hello.
Josna, Saranya here. There is a request from Ravina. Actually, I saw it in the chat box. If you are reading it out first to sir, he might give some insights on that.
Okay. I'll read this out. In response to Sharanya Madam, suggestions for my presentation. Thank you for the suggestions. In today's presentation, in proposed suggestion section, had done diagrams of hexagons and sectors and some examples like urban farming architecture, plan designs, vertical green, tree conservation, solar power in home. Examples were from my own architecture designs. Shall include more of this in detail for a revised version dissertation. Thank you. Okay, so sir, shall we start?
Okay, thanks for that. We will start Bhaskar. We'll listen to Bhaskar now.
Yes. Bhaskar sir, please unmute and start your presentation. Hello. You forgot to unmute, I think.
He closed it.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. You forgot to unmute, I think. Now you start sharing.
Yeah, okay. So now I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes.
Yeah, a very warm good afternoon to all of you. So, okay, my slides are not moving ahead.
You can click the slide. See, there is an option called PowerPoint slideshow. You have to select that. You have selected the second option. Again,
you mean in the sharing?
Click Alt Tab. Click Alt Tab. Alt Tab. Here, the second option, next option is there, na PowerPoint slideshow. Click on that.
PowerPoint slideshow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Here, go to display setting. Click display setting.
Okay.
Click display setting. Here, click the display settings.
Yeah, okay.
No. Here on the top is there a display settings. Show taskbar display setting. Yeah. Duplicate slideshow. Click duplicate slideshow.
Okay.
Now it will move.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks very much for allowing me to have a presentation on energy audit in an industry. So basically, this was my topic. Okay, so as a ritual, I always start with a shloka. So there I have got this shloka from the Rig Veda's second adhyay, the 35th shloka, which says about upe mashrahi vaj yurvachasyam chano dadij nadayo gire me apam napada shuheham to kuvits supesh sanskrati Joshi Sh Dadhi. I'm sorry, I'm slightly slow in speaking Sanskrit, however, I'm learning it. But it means that the energy is the main cause behind the stability of the material objects, and it is the source of the power and transforms into various material forms. So it should be conserved. So guys, the concept of energy conservation had been since last 3,000 years, and it's been conserved, it's been saved since very, very long. So it's not a new concept. It should not be a new concept for us. So, there has been a scheme that has been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, where this is under the Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana. It's an Indian government project to provide electricity to all households. So basically, the scheme was notified on 11th of October 2017, and the operational guidelines for its implementation were released by the Government of India on 20th of October 2017. So basically, this scheme aims to give electricity to each and every household person. Now, if we will go through the overall the energy scenario of India, so India stands overall fifth in the entire energy demand in the entire world, and the installed capacity of India is 255 gigawatts. Out of that, 177 gigawatts are from thermal generation, which is coal, gas, or the diesel power plants. 4,780 megawatts is from nuclear power plants. 40,798 is from hydroelectric power plants, and the renewable sources are 31,692. So if you will see, from 1991 to 2014, there has been increase of 191 gigawatts of electricity demand as far as India is concerned. And this is supposed to increase at slightly higher rate. The overall the electricity demand of let's say from 10 to 15% is now increasing annually. So yeah. So the increase in energy demand globally has forced the energy cost to rise up. And one of the sectors which are responsible for high energy consumption are the industrial sector. As you can see on the left hand side, the 35% of the electricity has been consumed by the industrial units. So the developing countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan are having huge imbalance between demand and supply of electricity. So that's why we always see that there is no electricity in various parts of India as well. Till now, there has not been electricity. So to drive the growth of nation, it must be reached at a balance point in demand and supply, so that we should give electricity to each and every individual. So in industrial sector, the commercial buildings have higher power consumption pattern that can be reduced by implementing the energy conservation measures, right? So now if we will talk about the National Electricity Plan, under the Electricity Act, there has been a National Electricity Plan. They usually float it in a span of every 5 years. So the last NEP was launched on January 2018, that has been giving importance to the renewable sector. So basically what is happening, that the energy demand that has been increasing from 10 to 15%, but we are unable to cope up with that demand. Hence, the need of the energy conservation comes into play. And if you will see, that NEP has also set a renewable energy capacity target of 175 gigawatts to be reached by 2021-22. So like the more emphasis have been given not only on the thermal power plants or the nuclear power plant, but the more emphasis has also been given on the secondary source of energy, which is renewable source of energy like solar, wind, water, etc., etc. So the plan also tells a lot about reduction of the carbon dioxide emissions, which improves the efficiency of the thermal power stations. So if we will calculate the total coal requirement in 2021-22 and 2026-27 is estimated to be 735 megatons and 877 megatons respectively. So this includes the imported the coal as well. So the plan aims to improve the efficiency of the coal-based generation plants through renovation and modernization of old and inefficient units, and to close down the units where the renovation and modernization are not possible. So guys, the message is very clear that, you know, we are unable to make more amount of thermal power plant. I mean, of course we can make, but it will definitely have a more environmental load. So but we will be and it will be very foolish to, you know, dependent upon a single source of electricity. Let us say we cannot be dependent upon diesel and petrol all the time, because we know that these all things are going to vanish, because the resources are very, very limited as far as earth is concerned. So that's why a lot of governments are giving emphasis on generating the alternative sources of electricity. Now, the government of India have set a target of 175 gigawatt from renewable energy. So from where like 100 gigawatt will be coming from solar energy, 60 gigawatt from the wind power, 100 gigawatt from the from the biopower, and 5 gigawatt from the okay, yeah, and the 10 gigawatt from the biopower, and the 5 gigawatt from the small hydropower plants. Okay, now the government of India is also marketing the national wind and solar hybrid policy. So they have released this policy in May 2018 to promote large grid connected with wind, solar, photovoltaic systems for optimal and efficient energy utilization of transmission infrastructure and the land. So basically, the policy aims to encourage the new technologies and methods that involve the combination of solar and wind power plants. So okay, so in the line of the same, the government have also launched this Srishti scheme, which means by sustainable rooftop implementation for solar transfiguration of India. So you can see that in India, a lot of emphasis, specifically in Gujarat, has been given to install the solar rooftop. And there are a lot of subsidies. So for example, if you are installing a 3 kilowatt solar power system at your rooftop, then you will be given a subsidy of approximately 30,000 to 40,000 rupees. Then there was another scheme known as Kusum, which is Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Utthan Maha Abhiyan. So this scheme is for the solar pumps that pump water from the earth for their crops. So these type of schemes are promoted by the government of India for the same. So guys, why I have told you all these things, because conservation of energy is a need of the hour. Why we need to conserve energy? So we need to conserve energy so as to because the total generation capacity is increasing at approximately 10% annually. To overcome this shortage and for meeting the ever rising electricity demand in the coming years, the nation has proposed a capacity expansion of 39,000 megawatts approximately, and 60,000 megawatt in 10th and the 11th 5-year plan respectively. So however, these capacities additions will come at a mammoth cost of approximately 9 lakh crores. Hence, the message on the wall is very, very clear. There is an urgent requirement of energy efficiency practices and energy conservation measures for a sustainable development. So guys, let's conserve electricity. Yeah, energy. So what is an energy audit? So energy audit is the key to a systematic approach for decision making in the area of energy management. So it attempts to balance the total energy management. It also attempts to balance the total energy inputs with its use, and serves to identify all the stream in a facility. So basically, let's say it identifies, for example, there is a factory, so it identifies the major equipments that are consuming electricity. They study that equipment, and then they identify the scope of energy efficiency or the scope of energy conservation in the same. It also quantifies energy usage according to its discrete functions. And industrial audit, energy audit, is an effective tool in defining and pursuing the comprehensive energy management program. That's what we will be going to see. So now, what are the benefits of energy audit? So to achieve the target as set by the government to give electricity to each and every individual, so this is the moral responsibility as a citizen of India to have the right of basic amenities, which includes electricity, of course. To decrease the gap between the energy supply and demand, for sure, Energy conservation will be helpful in economy, because it may save those 9 lakh crores of rupees, and not the entire 9 lakh crore, but some amount we can contribute in the same. Every unit saved will be conserving the environment. So this is what I have seen in understanding various case studies, that no one was concentrating on the environment conservation. Everyone is interested in conserving money. So like I will be giving slightly more emphasis on the environment, because every unit saved will be indirectly conserving the environment. So this awareness and this message needs to be imparted to all the stakeholders. Like, you are not only conserving the money, but you are conserving the environment as a byproduct. So this is a kind of win-win situation as far as environmental conservation is concerned. Okay, so what are the types of energy audit? So there are like preliminary audits, detailed audits, general audits, investment grade audits. So preliminary audits are those audits that those happens at a macro level. So these may or may not require the site visit, and in this type of audits, the energy auditor is going to understand and study the overall energy bill whatsoever you have in the previous. So by identifying the historical data and by doing the analysis for the same, we may come across various energy conservation techniques. So I will give you an example of a company where they have had gone through the preliminary audits, and by simply adding a capacitor bank in their in their line, they have managed to improve their power factor, which was earlier it was 0.89, and then later on it had gone to 0.95, and they have conserved some 10 lakh rupees. So these are the, like, a kind of low hanging fruits can be easily identified in the preliminary audits, and they can be easily implemented, and the results will be shown. As far as detailed audits are concerned, so these audit contains a detailed overview of each and every equipment from the point of energy conservation, and then identifying the needs, like, how you can conserve the electricity. For example, it contains like 3 steps, like pre-visit, audit, and then post-visit as well. General audit is like similar to the preliminary audit, where they see they follow all the steps of the preliminary audits, but here they are also concentrating on the points where we really wanted to go ahead, or you can say that general audit is a pre-audit as far as investment grade or the detailed audit is concerned. So the general audit will tell us whether we are really we should really go towards the detailed audit or an investment grade audit or not. So this is also a kind of macro type of energy audit. As far as investment grade audits are concerned, so there are a lot of companies who really wanted to implement energy conservation into their premises so as to save money, and as a byproduct the environment as well. So they have some amount of capex with them, which needs to be invested. Hence in this case the investment grade audit comes into play. So the energy auditor will come to the site, and they will roam, they will have a walkthrough of the site, and they will take care of each and every aspect of the energy conservation, how you can conserve the electricity. For example, I will give you an example like when I was visiting a factory premises, and why a walkthrough is important, because that question might be in your mind, because ultimately an energy auditor is dealing with the energy meters and all those things. But I will give you an example. I was just going across a company premises, and what I have seen, the water line system has been connected with the booster pumps. So those booster pumps are such that the moment the line in the pressure lowers down, the booster pump starts. So which is basically a loss of energy. So what I have suggested them to, why can't you have an overhead water tank? So that will give you the enough gravitational pressure, so that you can use this water at a normal pressure, because there was no requirement of the high pressurized water in, at least in toilets and in other parts of the factory premises. So they have understood that and they have implemented that. And with that, it is not a thing that have come on the cost benefit analysis, but yes, in a sense they were not using the booster motors, and hence it led to the conservation of the environment. Yeah. Going ahead, which energy to choose depends on manufacturer. I mean, which energy audit to choose depends upon the various factors. So it depends upon the type and function of the industry, how that industry is. If it's an automobile industry or it's in paint industry, then they will be needing a detailed audit. How detailed you want to go into the audits? Of course, it's an objective based and the client driven audits, as what we have understood in the environmental audit section as well. How much cost reduction you really are going through, and what's your commitment towards the environment. So I am adding environment section in each and every slide, so that we should not only consider energy as an cost saving aspect, but also as an environment conservation aspect as well. Now, I will be just going through this a very small preliminary audit methodology. So usually, as I already have explained, they want to study the total consumption of the factory. They check the scope of the energy consumption in our organization. These audits are helpful in identifying the lower hanging fruits, or the easiest and the immediate ways to saving the energy. They help to segregate the area that needs detailed level of analysis. And usually these types of audit uses the current or the existing data available at almost no additional tools required for the calculation. Another thing I wanted to say, that as far as energy auditing is concerned, so here the purpose is to not to hamper any sort of production efficiency. So here in the energy audits, you are conserving energy by not hampering the efficiency or any production of the factory at all. So without untouching all these activities, we are conserving a lot of energy. And later on in the two case studies, we will be understanding like how much amount of money a company have saved. Okay. So what are the components of an energy audit? So energy audit consists of...
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have 1 minute left.
Okay, sorry.
So
I'll
please try
just
to-
quickly wrap up. Yeah, I'll quickly wrap up. So the components of energy audit contains the historical data, actual data analysis, monitoring, control, and evaluation of energy conservation opportunities. I'll not go through all the steps of this energy auditing because it consists the similar type of things that are there in the environmental auditing. So it starts with like the initial meeting, touring the facility, documentation, facility inspection, staff interviews, utility analysis, evaluation of feasible energy conserving mechanisms, economic analysis, and in the last, review and the recommendation to the management. So I'll quickly just allow me to just 2 or 3 minutes. I'll just quickly finish the case study. So the use of solar water heating system instead of the electric heater in a company that have led to companies. This case study is of a steel rolling company who are very high in electrical consumption. So they have managed to conserve the electricity bill of approximately 9,14,000 rupees by simply using the solar water heaters, and by investing 16 lakh rupees, which will have a payback period of 21 months. Similarly, they have recovered the heat from the compressors. So by recovering heat from the compressors, they have managed to have the investment of approximately 9,56,000 and cost saving of approximately 6,73,000 rupees, which will have a payback period of 17 months. Waste heat recovery from the exhaust of a furnace. So they have managed to reduce the oil consumption by 10,704. Their efficiency has been brought from 15% to 33%. Hence, they have invested for approximately 6 lakh rupees, which will have a payback period of 1 year. Okay. So the overall, this is the summary of all the three activities that that company have done. Now, quickly, I will go through this interesting case study of the green buildings and the Vastu Shastra. So what I have gone through is that in the Vastu Shastra, there are many things that are in coincidence with the lead or the International Green Building Council's and, the notifications, and they are almost same. For example, in the Vastu Shastra, it says that the room should be constructed all around the courtyard, and the entrance door is most preferred in the eastern direction. Okay, so this is like, well, so as to receive the proper ventilation and lighting in the habitat. So this is also as confirmed by the IGBC new buildings ad, in which he says that the minimum daylight illumination of 110 lakhs, at least 50% of the regularly occupied spaces usually remains there. So my point here is to say is that if we will go through the Vastu Shastra and the points that are mentioned there, they are absolutely coinciding with the various green building norms and the green building codes. So they are absolutely coinciding with each other. So let's say if we are making our home as per the Vastu Shastra, then we are automatically aligning ourselves with the environment, and we are, in a sense, we are conserving the environment by not giving too much load on the environment. So there are many things with respect to the courtyard, walls and columns. No trees should be planted inside the buildings, but outside the house you can plant the trees. So there are many things that are there. So there are a lot of information with respect to the sunshade. So in which direction it should be there, etc., etc. So these are the references what I have gone through. I will be more than happy to answer any questions if anyone will be having. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So there are no questions here, but if anyone wanted to ask, you can ask now.
Yeah, okay. I would also like to, I have just left one aspect. So thanks very much. I will be just saying that, I mean, we give a lot of emphasis on, like we are removing CFL lightings, and we are having this LED lights. Okay. So trust me, guys, the LED lights will have some bad effects also. So that also needs to be taken care. I will give you a very good case study. What had happened in my previous company was, there were earlier the normal tube lights, 40-watt tube lights were there. And then later on, as a part of energy conservation, we have removed all those white milky lights. And then we have installed the LED lights, which will have the same intensity, in fact, more intensity than that. So these LED lights will have the glare quotient which is so high, and their light have their wavelength is slightly towards the ultraviolet radiation. So if you will see when the LED light is brand new, then it appears that it is slightly violet in color. So this violet in color is really harmful for our eyes, and it may cause a headache to us. So we need to make sure that we need to be very, very careful whenever we are selecting the type of LED lights. Specifically if it is a part of our energy conservation. So we need not to impose this energy conservation on everyone, but we have to make sure we are not hampering our efficiency, and we are just changing slightest of the things, and hence we are getting appropriate energy conservation without losing the efficiency. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think so. Okay, there is one question. So what are your thoughts on carbon footprint of emails? Sorry, Ranjani?
Yeah, sorry, carbon footprint of?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Joshna.
Ranjani, you can ask your question directly here.
Okay, so I just wanted to know your thoughts on having carbon footprint of emails.
See, carbon footprinting is always a better option. I mean, it will always promote any organization to gain the carbon footprints. But I would rather say that rather than...
No, you're mistaken. I meant carbon footprint, as in the carbon emissions or carbon CO2 equivalent due to emails.
Sorry, say that again. Carbon footprints because of?
I'm just asking your thoughts on CO2 emissions or due to emails.
Okay. Yeah, so there has been a study what I have read, and we have worked on that. So what I personally feel is that the emails are, of course, yes, causing the increase in carbon content, but I'm absolutely sure that it will be lesser than the one what we are printing in our office and premises and doing all those activities. So if we will compare both of the things, like, getting things in the hard copy rather than having it on an email, so the email and the digital documentation will be a better option comparing with the same. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, yeah, that's true. But I think the current load, the rate at which we are sending emails, it's actually, I remember going through some articles wherein they were saying, no, the rate at which it's merely because of the volume at which we are using emails. And because of that, there is a considerable amount of CO2 emissions. So there is actually, I remember they were advocating for decluttering your inbox, because the amount of subscription and through those, because of the volume, basically, when you compare it to a normal printing, it may be less, but actually there are studies released which say that the CO2 emission of an email is actually more because of the volume at which we are accessing it in the present.
Yeah, absolutely. So in short, we need to learn Sanskrit so that we should have a very lesser amount of things to say in smaller words, and which have a lot of message into that. We need to improve our communication skills as well, so that we should say lesser. We should say.
No, so actually there are strategies to handle it. There are strategies to handle it. Like, I don't want. I'll briefly say that basically we have like subscription by default. We get subscribed to a lot of things, and mainly because of that, and other things are like when you are. You want to open your email, and basically decluttering. Even if the email is stored in your account, there's a lot of energy in retrieving the data using the Google and everything. They are all powered by data centers, so they consume energy. So there is electricity being used to power those data centers in order for us to easily retrieve an email. So if our inbox has like 6,000, 7,000 emails, just because it is present in our inbox, it is going to create every time we open our inbox, there's going to be energy spent to retrieve it. So I think there are practical ways in which, if we, by decluttering our email by inbox, there's a lot of impact that we can do.
Yeah. So you mean like the bringing discipline in ourselves and, doing those things, of course, we can conserve the energy for sure. Yeah. Thanks very much, Ranjani, for this suggestion.
Welcome.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Ranjani. That was a really good question. We always neglect the small details, which also contribute for environmental degradation. And I think average spam email has a footprint equivalent to around 0.3 grams. I'm not clear. Yeah, that was a really good question.
Yeah, that is the CO2 equivalent quantified. Yeah, I remember reading
we
that.
always neglect small details like that, which also contribute.
They say even if it's in the trash, it takes up. So it has to be deleted even from the trash in order to completely wipe out the energy requirement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ranjani. So there is another question from Srinivas sir. So any comments on energy audit of glass covered building complexes we see in IISc? Is there any statutory expectations on energy audit?
Okay, there has been an Energy Conservation Act 2001 where they have some guidelines, but those guidelines are not sufficient enough. And it will depend upon the company. I mean, after energy auditing only we got to realize that, whether that the glass buildings are really causing any issues with respect to the energy consumption, or whether they are appreciating the overall energy content, or whether they are depreciating the overall energy content. So based upon that, we can identify whether that is okay or not. I hope I answered.
Srinivas sir, is your question answered, or do you want to add?
Sorry, I think I'll catch up offline. I had dropped off for 30 seconds, so I lost his answer, but I'll not waste time. I'll catch up offline. Thanks.
Okay, maybe we can take it offline and we can speak about it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Also, there was another question on statutory expectations. Is there anything on energy audit from a
Yeah,
statutory standpoint?
there has been an Energy Conservation Act 2001, which says about a lot about conserving the electricity, a lot of things with respect to CFL and LED lights. But I personally think that that is not sufficient enough. But I mean, introduction of technology like usage of proximity sensors and all those things have really enhanced the overall energy conservation scenario across the world. So on daily basis, I mean, these type of studies are coming as like Ranjani was saying, like the carbon footprint that has been causing because of emails is causing a lot of clutter. So like disciplining ourselves is the best way to conserve the environment, is what I will be advocating for. Thank you.
Thank you. Bhaskar, quick question, curiosity. In your background, we see 5 bulbs and one of them is glowing. Is there any connection to this topic?
Well, I'm doing an energy conservation in that case.
All right, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaskar sir. That was very engaging session. So as a chairperson, I felt you should have added the protocols that we have for energy efficient use of energy. Yes, yeah, that's my opinion. Okay, I'll hand over this to TVR sir.
Can I just take 1 minute?
Yes, Dhananjay.
Bhaskar, the topic given to you was energy auditing in an industry. I see a very minimal information pertaining to that. You talked about energy auditing and energy situation in the country. Energy auditing in the kind of generalities you spoke about it. Particular industry, I thought you will take an example of your industry and say that how the energy auditing was done, and because of the auditing, what are the benefit you got for the industry. See, that is the advantage of the, when a professional like you take this course, I also look that some changes should have happened in the. Okay, Bhaskar?
Sure, sir.
Yes, Dhananjay was asking something.
Yeah, actually, it was just a comment regarding the just now we have seen the toilet fitments, right? So there are pressure boosting pumps and the energy is also required for that. So I would just like to point out that many of the fitments, many of the taps are industries which are using or which are costly or high at value. So they are requiring pressure of more than 5 bar. Or maybe the pressure head we can say 50 or 60 meters high. So that's why actually the most of the industries go for the pressure boosting pumps or like that. So actually to have a solution for that, I think they should select the fitment accordingly. And on this point, just one example means I was once in a hotel for one training. So actually there in the washroom I have seen one tap, and it was, unless it is completely open, you cannot wash hands in that basin. So actually the design was completely wrong, I will say, for that, because unless you open completely, you cannot wash hands. So actually that kind of, I think that is the problem with the design with this system only. So the quick question was like this kind of suggestions, are they also included in energy audits?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will give you a live example of the water conservation activity what we have taken by installation of the small aerators in all the taps, so which have reduced the water for approximately 40 kilo of water we used to save on daily basis by simply installation of the aerators in the same. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
Sir,
if there are no questions, yeah.
Yes, sir, there are no questions. So, shall we continue or shall we take lunch break?
No, we will have food. So what we'll do is, now it's about 1:20. So we will try to reassemble at 2:30. Okay, I think 2:30 should be okay, no?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
I'm asking a
Okay,
question.
sir.
2:30 is fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then when we
Okay.
meet, when we meet in the afternoon, post-lunch, Bhaskar and Ranjani are going to do the chairing of the coordinating the session.
Okay, sir.
While Josna will be the first presenter post-lunch, okay?
Okay,
Josna?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Bhaskar and Ranjani are going to coordinate the session, okay?
Yeah, sir.
And we will
I
meet
do.
at 2:30.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you,
Have
sir.
lunch and join us.